They say she committed suicide to avoid capture. But what if Cleopatra's defeat was the ultimate power play, a weaponized legacy designed to haunt Rome? This story begins not with a birth, but with a death. The year is 30 before Christ. The air in Alexandria is thick, suffocating with the taste of defeat. Roman legions patrol streets that once belonged to pharaohs. Inside a cold stone mausoleum, the world's most powerful woman makes her final move. The official account is simple: a queen, a serpent, a tragic end to avoid humiliation. But that story was a Roman invention, crafted by her conqueror Octavian. He needed a monster to vanquish. He needed her broken. But what if she refused to break? What if, in her final moments, she orchestrated not an end, but a new beginning? A myth so powerful it would outlive the empire that destroyed her? Forget the myths. Before the crown, a teenage Cleopatra fought for survival in a snake pit of backstabbing royals. This is how she learned to kill. The palace in Alexandria was a gilded cage, the air thick with conspiracy. Her own family were the keepers. Her father, Ptolemy XII, was a puppet king who fled to Rome, a beggar in a foreign land. In the power vacuum, his daughter Berenice seized the throne. Cleopatra, just a child, watched from the shadows. She learned a brutal lesson. Power wasn't inherited. It was taken by force. Every whispered word could be a lie. Every outstretched hand could hide a blade. She saw her own sister betray their father for a crown. This wasn't a dynasty. It was a blood sport. And to win, you didn't just have to be smart. You had to be utterly ruthless. But what happens when the exiled king finally returns? Exile, hunted. Her solution? Get rolled into a carpet and delivered to her greatest rival. Seriously, who does that? The year is 48 before Common Era. The air in Alexandria is heavy, thick with sea salt and the stench of conspiracy. Cleopatra is a ghost in her own kingdom, pushed into the desert by her own brother. But then Rome arrives. Julius Caesar, the world's most powerful man, is holding court in her palace. The guards are everywhere. The city is a cage. So she devises a plan that history will never forget. A gamble of pure theatrical genius. She is wrapped in bedding, a common rug, and smuggled past enemy lines. Imagine the darkness inside, the suffocating heat, the absolute trust in the man carrying her. The rug is thrown at Caesar's feet. It unrolls. And a queen emerges. She seized control of the narrative, not with an army, but with an entrance. But was this brilliant move enough to save her throne? Or did it just seal Egypt's fate? History still whispers about it. A Greco-Egyptian dynasty, poised to rule the world. It was that close. The year is 44 before Christ. The air in Rome is thick, heavy with unspoken fears. In a lavish villa across the Tiber River lives a queen, Cleopatra. She is not a guest. She is a power player. At her side, her son with Julius Caesar, Caesarion. He is the paradox made real, the living bridge between the world's two greatest powers. Under her rule, Egypt is reborn. Its grain feeds the Roman masses. Its gold funds Caesar's ambitions. A new world order was being forged in secret, an empire with two capitals, Rome and Alexandria. The plan was breathtaking in its scope, a dynasty meant to last 1,000 years. For one brief, shining moment, the future belonged to them. But the old guard in Rome watched. They saw a foreign queen and her son, and they feared one thing, even more than a king. The moment Caesar fell, Cleopatra's entire world exploded. How did she navigate the deadliest political battlefield in ancient history, all to keep her son alive? The marble floors of her Roman villa felt ice cold. The news arrived like a dagger. Caesar was dead. 22 stab wounds. Her protector, her lover, the father of her child, gone. Overnight, she went from a powerful ally to a target. The city's air, once filled with celebration, now crackled with paranoia. Her alliances had turned to dust. In her arms, she held Caesarion, the son of Caesar, a living symbol of a future that had just died. To Rome's new masters, he was a threat. To his mother, he was everything. Fleeing was not enough. She had to escape Rome's chaos, cross a treacherous sea, and reclaim a kingdom that might no longer want her. But how do you disappear when the entire world is watching? What happens when the most powerful man in Rome falls for the most ambitious queen in Egypt? An empire-shattering collision course. You won't believe the stakes. Forget the simple love story. This was a hostile takeover of the known world. In the perfumed, sun-drenched halls of Alexandria, a new power was forged. Not in steel, but in ambition. Mark Antony, Rome's greatest general, Cleopatra, Egypt's living goddess. Together, they were more than lovers. They were a corporation of two, building a shadow empire to challenge Rome itself. They minted coins bearing both their faces. They commanded armies loyal only to them. They were creating a new world order from the east. But every empire casts a shadow. And back in the cold marble corridors of Rome, a rival was watching. A man who knew there could only be one ruler. So was this a new dynasty? Or the greatest gamble in history? Before armies clashed, Octavian launched history's most vicious information war. You won't believe how it worked. In Rome, the air grew thick with poison, not from a vial, but from whispers spreading through the forum. The calculating Octavian knew swords couldn't win this alone. He had to conquer the mind of every Roman citizen first. His weapon was a story, a terrifying one. He painted Cleopatra not as a queen, but as a foreign sorceress, a decadent mystic who enslaved the great Mark Antony with sex and magic. Antony was no longer a Roman hero. He was her puppet, lost to duty, drunk on Eastern luxury. This wasn't a civil war between two men. Octavian's genius was reframing it. This was a holy war to save Roman values from a foreign threat. But behind the rumors and the slander, Octavian held one final devastating weapon, a single document that would turn the entire city against its former hero. What if one single battle determined the future of Western civilization? At Actium, that wasn't a hypothetical. It was terrifying reality. The date, September 2nd, 31 before Christ. The Ionian Sea is a sheet of glass under a punishing sun. Hundreds of massive warships, Antony and Cleopatra's fleet, sit heavy in the water. They are floating fortresses. Facing them, a smaller, faster navy commanded by Octavian's brilliant admiral, Agrippa. This is the final act of a bloody civil war. One man will forge an empire, the other will become a ghost. The air is thick, tasting of salt and fear. Thousands of soldiers wait for the signal that will unleash hell. But Antony's forces were larger, more powerful. On paper, they held the advantage. So why did it all fall apart in a single afternoon? In the chaos, one ship made a move that defied all military logic. A move that would doom them all. You think you know how Cleopatra died? The real story is far more chilling, far more brilliant. The year is 30 before Christ. The air in Alexandria is thick with defeat, a city turned cage. Inside her gilded prison, the last queen of Egypt waits. Her great love, Mark Antony, is gone. dead on his own sword after a false report of her death. Now, her nemesis has arrived. The cold, calculating Octavian. He doesn't want her dead. He wants something far worse, a trophy. He dreams of parading her through Rome in iron chains. Cleopatra knew his plan. For days, she negotiated, her mind racing, buying precious time. But for what? The legend tells of an asp hidden in a basket of figs, a poetic end for a queen. But when Roman guards broke down the doors, they found her, serene, dressed in royal splendor, 2 faint marks on her arm, but no snake was ever found. So what really delivered the killing blow? They thought they had her. But Cleopatra's death wasn't a defeat. It was the ultimate power play that still baffles historians. The year is 30, before Christ. The sweltering Egyptian heat hangs heavy over a conquered Alexandria. Octavian, Rome's new master, had one final prize in his sights, the Queen of the Nile. He craved the ultimate spectacle, parading her through Rome in iron chains, a living trophy of his absolute power. But inside her mausoleum, surrounded by cold stone and silence, Cleopatra prepared for her final act. She would deny him his triumph. She would deny Rome its prize. In her greatest political defeat, she achieved her greatest victory, conquering history itself and forever outshining her conquerors. So how did a cornered queen, in her final moments, manage to outwit the most powerful man in the world?